So, let's talk about AI. Everybody's talking about it, right? But how do you actually make it work for your business? You know, the hype is just, it's everywhere. But finding the practical steps, that's a whole other story. Okay, let's cut through all that noise and build a clear, evidence-based playbook for really implementing AI, moving past the buzzwords to find what actually creates value.
And you know, this isn't just about technology for the sake of technology. Get this, a survey by UKG found that a staggering 95% of employees in India believe AI can genuinely make their lives better. That tells you something really important. This whole AI revolution, it's deeply human. It's about empowering people, not just tweaking processes.
And the scale of this thing? It's massive. As McKinsey puts it, generative AI is a step change in the evolution of artificial intelligence. We are not talking about a minor software update here. We are talking about a fundamental transformation in how businesses operate, how they create, and how they compete. It's a whole new ballgame.
Okay, so let's move from all that high-level talk down to the ground level. How is this step change actually showing up in the real world? This next part is all about AI in action, the practical tools that are solving real business problems as we speak.
Now, it's so important to get this. AI isn't just one single thing. It's more like a whole toolbox of powerful technologies. You've got natural language processing, or NLP, which can sift through thousands of customer reviews to figure out how people feel. You've got machine learning, which is a whiz at finding patterns to predict things, like optimizing your supply chain. And of course, generative AI, which can create brand new stuff, from drafting marketing copy to even helping engineers write code. Each tool for a different job.
Now check this out. This slide really shows the insane shift in speed and access to information. The old way? A sales manager has a question, they submit a ticket, and then they wait and wait for weeks to get a static report. But now, with what Databricks calls augmented analytics, that same manager can just ask in plain English, hey, why are sales down in my region? And get a detailed answer back in minutes. That doesn't just speed things up. It totally changes who can make data-driven decisions. And listen, this is not just some theory. Let's look at a real-world case study, this one from the public sector. Derby City Council over in the UK was facing a huge £14 million funding gap. So what did they do? They rolled out a couple of AI assistants to handle the constant, repetitive questions from citizens. And the results? They were absolutely stunning.
Just look at these numbers. In the first year alone, the AI handled 500,000 phone calls. It hit a 46% call deflection rate, which means almost half the calls that would have tied up a human agent were just handled automatically. The bottom line? £200,000 in savings. This is a perfect example of the real, tangible impact a smart AI strategy can have.
Now, seeing a success story like that raises a super important question. What does a well-executed strategy actually look like? Well, one of the biggest, and frankly, most counterintuitive lessons we're learning is that aiming for a complete hands-off automation might actually be the wrong move.
There's this myth out there that the ultimate goal of AI is to just remove humans from the process completely, for maximum efficiency. But the data tells a completely different story. A really big study of 200 B2B deployments found that systems designed with a human in the loop, that means a person is there to review, to guide, or approve the AI's work, those systems deliver way higher returns.
And here it is, in black and white. The Atlanta study found that the average return on investment for AI projects that had human oversight was a massive 372%. For projects that went for full autonomy, 268%. That's over 100 percentage points lower. So the big takeaway here is that keeping people involved isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's a value multiplier.
So why is that? This quote gives us a perfect, if pretty painful, example. That same study talks about a fintech startup whose fully autonomous chatbot gave a customer some seriously bad financial advice. That one error cost the company 18,000 euros in a settlement, and who knows how much in reputation damage. A human in the loop is that critical safety net, catching those expensive mistakes before they can do any harm. And this whole human-centric idea, it extends to your budget too. The Atlanta study also found that companies that put more than a quarter of their AI budget into training their people, they saw an ROI 2.1 times higher than companies that didn't. The message could not be clearer. The tech is only as good as the people who are trained to actually use it.
This focus on people leads us right to our next critical topic, because investing in your team isn't just about showing them how to use the new software, it's about empowering them to build and use AI in a way that's responsible and, frankly, trustworthy.
So one of the biggest risks you have to watch out for is something called algorithmic bias. And here's what that really means. It's when the data you use to train your AI has hidden flaws or reflects old prejudices. The AI isn't evil, it's just learning from and amplifying the garbage you feed it, and that can lead to some really unfair or just plain wrong outcomes.
And this slide just shows the massive difference between getting this right and getting it wrong. I mean, Amazon famously had to scrap a recruiting tool because it learned from old hiring data to basically penalize resumes that even mention the word women's. Total failure. But on the flip side, you have a company like Katia, who designs their system for success from the start by paying rural workers fairly for language data. They build a better, more equitable data set, which leads to a much more reliable tool.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. The applications, the human factor, the need for trust. So now, let's pull it all together. Here's your final, actionable playbook. 5 evidence-based rules for making AI a real win in your organization.
All right, number 1, start small. Seriously, don't try to boil the ocean. Pick a quick win project where you can actually measure the return. 2, deploy fast. Aim for a minimum viable product in under 8 weeks so you can learn and iterate. 3, measure everything. Don't fall for vague talk about productivity. Track specific things like cost savings or hours saved. 4, humanize your AI. As we saw, that human-in-the-loop governance is a core principle for success. And finally, number 5, invest in your people. Training is not an afterthought. It is the key to unlocking what this technology can really do.
So, let's end with this thought. There's so much fear that AI is coming for all our jobs. But the reality? It's a lot more nuanced than that. AI is a tool, a powerful one, and the competitive advantage is going to go to the people who learn how to use that tool the best. So the real question isn't whether AI is coming. It's, are you and is your organization ready to adapt and lead the way?